Manager of Smarter Electronic Systems since 3 weeks. And since I'm quite new in this program, I will let Toby present, because we usually do things like that when we have new batch of money in the program, so that it will be easier for you to do the right thing in your application. And well, with those words, I will let Toby continue. Warmly welcome.
Thank you, Anna, and welcome on board. So I'm Toby. I'm the Deputy Program Manager, and I have been working in the program since 2018. And I was also acting program manager and preparing this call together with Vinnova during the autumn, and therefore I'm presenting. And this is the I have to say. There we go. So this is the agenda. We plan a quick presentation for 25 minutes about this call, and then we have an open session for Q&As, and that will not be recorded. So you have more specific questions in the end, but you are free to use the chat and raise your hand if there are questions on misunderstandings. So Swedish Electronic System, we are one of the 17 strategic innovation programs. We have been formed back in 2014. We are working with the cooperation between industry, public sector, and academia. And our long-term vision is that we, by 2025, that Swedish Electronic System will enable the Swedish industry to be world-class. And as you know, electronic is the key technology for many of the new products that's coming out. And we have been focusing since the start with 3 main challenges. It's the development of the Swedish excellence. These calls is to improve the innovation in this field, but also to strengthen the efficiency in the value chains, and also to provisions of skills. It's quite common that you have PhD students working in these projects and master students as well. The tools we have this year, we have 44 million krona from Energimyndigheten together with Vinnova. That's the founders for our program. And these we use to spend for the program office, roughly 12%, and we also run strategic individual projects, and that's for interest for our several partners. While these calls that we are discussing today and presenting today, they are more focused on 1 or 2 companies or a smaller consortia with specific needs for just their product. And this year we have 28 million allocated preliminary for this call. And we are at the program office, me and Anna, and also one person doing the communication, and we have another one doing the skills and the education management. This is just some examples of previous companies that has been involved or organization. So we have had calls since 2014, and roughly 200 project proposals. Some 450 organizations has been applying for this. We know them and we could help out. So if you are lacking a specific expertise or partner in some way in your value chain, we have a huge network of most of the electronic companies in Sweden and could help out to find your partners if needed. And this 600, we have granted slightly over 200, or Vinnova is the one granting them. So roughly 1/3 is the success rate. So out of 600, more than 200 has been granted funding. This project call, and it was opened on the 16th of January. And the important one is to keep track is the deadline on the 14th of March at 2 o'clock at the Vinnova portal. And we also offer the feasibility study pre-studies. and the intention is to open that one in June and with a deadline in September, and that's for shorter program. And this call we have open now, that's end on the 14th of March. That's for longer 2-year projects, larger projects. And I would like to stress, so if you have a pre-study that were granted in October and started early November last year, that has to be reported by the end of this month. So to Vinnova, you have to end that one at the latest 28th of February in order to be eligible for applying for this new research and innovation program that has the deadline on the 14th of March. So please report if you have such a pre-study. You can't run two at the same time. The scope of this research and innovation call is focusing on embedded intelligence systems, and it should be addressing industrial needs. So it's not pure research on lower TRL level. It should address manufacturability, reliability, and energy efficiency. In some of these areas should have a focus. And the requirement is that it should be industrial driven, and you need a consortium. You can't apply only by one company or organization. You need to form a value chain with a consortium of minimum 2 partners. We see preferably 3 to 5 in the consortium. That's better. And at least one should be a company, and the major part of the budget should go to the company. But we encouraged engagement with research organizations like RISE or others, and also with universities in order to strengthen the excellent skills. And also the calls should contribute that we achieve profitable growth in Sweden for Swedish industry, and it need to be in a sustainable way. And it also strengthened in Swedish industrial on the international arena. So that is, you should address that in your proposal. And it also should contribute to the transition towards the sustainable society. So the sustainable development goals, the 17, de globala hållbarhetsmålen. 17 stycken. So in the application, you have to address at least one of these goals that your project should address. And we also want to see that the projects take at least one step in the TRL scale, so that's technology readiness scale. And we see that they should be beyond pure research. So pure research, academic research is at TRL level 1 or 2. We see level 3, we could accept projects starting at TRL 3, but we see that they should be at least past the demonstrator at the laboratory level. So, and preferably even more at TRL level 5 and 6. So they are in real the technology is demonstrated in already in real environment. And at least when the project is ended, they should have reached the TRL level 5. And the long term is that the product should reach the market within 3 years after the project. So that's industrial driven projects with a go to market quite soon after the project is ended. We also have focusing a little bit more. That's the minimum change in the call text. Otherwise, it's quite similar, the call text from previous years. It's if you already have applied for this kind of projects earlier, they are much the same call text, but we have focusing a little more about gender aspect. So you need to address the gender aspect, and it's both the contribution in the project team, that it's an equal team, or you're giving the opportunity for both women and men, but also the project. So that is more important. It's to describe the result on projects on gender balance. So if you test on real environment, that it's a gender balance in how to apply and what to address the product. And I stress to everyone, read the call text very carefully so you address what we are looking for, and you have it on Vinnova webpage. And we have since the beginning the field of excellence that has been identified. So these 7 fields: antenna, microwave and terahertz system, photonics, sensors, embedded system, and sensors and embedded system, micro and nano electronics, printed electronics, power electronics, and addressing construction methods, reliability, or advanced production technology. So this is the field where the project should aim at. When Vinnova is evaluating, they judge it on 3 criteria. So it's the potential, the partners, and the viability. And you get the scoring equal on each of these 3 fields. And that is a difference. So if you have been applying for the pre-studies, then the potential has double weight. But in this call, we have the same weight for all 3 criteria. And these are also more carefully described in the call text. So please read the call text. Who can apply? So for this call, it's regarding long-term, larger research and innovation project. It need to be in a consortium, so project in samverkan in Swedish, forming a consortium with at least 2 partners. We see 3, 4 is better. While the feasibility study, the one that we intend to open in June, that is open for single applicants. So that's the difference. So make sure that you don't submit a proposal without further partners. We have seen that, and then it's not eligible for funding. And industry, it must be a minimum 1 industry partner. And the project budget, it's splitted, so half is grants from Vinnova and half is in-kind contribution from the partners in the consortium with your workforce or your salaries or other costs that you cover. But it's a 50-50 between public funding and private funding. And this call, you could apply up to 4 million Swedish krona, 50% of the project costs, and you need to cover 50% yourself. And the maximum to 1 individual partner is 2.5 million krona. And the total budget allocated is preliminary 28 million Swedish krona. It's depending on a little bit on the amount of application and the good application. It could increase. It had happened in previous years. Some important dates to remind us. So it's now open. We have this webinar, and on 14th of March it's end. In late May, the decision will be given to the one applying, and project could start from 1st of July. And the last date you could start the project is 1st of September, and by 31st of August 2025, it needs to be ended. So our program is now in a ramp down phase. So we will have this call and probably a call also next year. But then there will be a new organization taking over and hopefully starting and giving this kind of electronics calls for funding. So read the call text. It's 13 pages, and you find it on the web page, on Vinnova's webpage. Then after reading that one, you could start forming your consortium and writing IDs. listening to this webinar, either live or the recorded version, forming the consortium, finding members. And if you need to find expertise fields, we have and offer competence hubs for different skills and excellence field, and also the program office. So Anna is the formal one that could help out with the reading your proposal. If you have it well in advance, we could read it through. We don't write the proposal, but we help out reading through and giving advice on what to improve. So that's what we at the program office do. Vinnova can't do that. They are just asking on formal requirements. And then you submit latest March 14 the proposal with attachment. And important is that also one attachment should go to smarter electronic system. It will come more on the next slide. And then when Vinnova, they allocate the external experts that are reading the proposal. So it's not smarter electronic system. So it's the expert from that Vinnova are hiring that are judging. So it's at least 3 experts that read each application. And then they do a ranking, and the top ranked proposals are then getting funding if they fulfill all the other eligible criteria. And then by July, 1st of July, you get the funding and could start the project. So the application process, you apply on a web-based formula on the Vinnova webpage. So you need to set up a Vinnova web account. And on that one, you fulfill some requirements about the proposal and partners. And to that web page, you also add the application. And we have a template for program project description. There is also attachment or template for the CVs. And if there are SMEs involved, you also need to state how you are funded and how you will co-found your part of the project, this 50%. So all these templates are on Vinnova's webpage. They are slightly updated compared to previous years. And then everyone that are applying are also compelled to submit this project abstract. So it's a one-pager, maximum one-pager, and that should be sent to Anna by email. And that should also contain the contact information to all project members. Because smarter electronic system, we don't get access to Vinnova's proposal. So this is the only information that we have to contact the partners. And I stress again, it normally takes time. It could take several days, full-time days, and especially finding partners and get the okay from your partners in the project. So start early, the sooner the better. And especially if you also want Anna or me to read through and get advices on your proposal, and then we need it well in advance before the deadline. I mentioned our competence hubs. So you will receive this recording presentation later on. And here are the competence experts that could have a specific network and find partners or help you out if there are some technical issues on where experts are required. So these are available for support your proposal. And then since my task in the program is also to strengthen the Swedish participation in international consortiums. So one idea with this Swedish calls is that you later on, when you have reached TRL level 6 or 7, that you continue with international calls and get more funding. And I just want to hint if you are interested and also having international partners. XCCS, that's our sister program on the European and international level in the Eureka cluster. They opened a call in September and we have had a similar webinar and information that's on our webpage. And there is upcoming in just 3 weeks the deadline for project outline, so a shorter 10-page submission, and then full project proposal has a deadline in May. So that is an alternative if you want more funding or have slightly larger consortiums. Then you should go to Eureka webpage. And on next week, on February 7th, Key Digital Joint Undertake is a much larger program on European level. They open their 2023 calls, and there will be a brokerage event next week. And this one has a deadline later on this year. More information will come on February, but you could also find it on their webpage and on Vinnova's webpage. So that's for international collaboration, if you have international. And next week there is a brokerage. So if you want the international partners, it's possible to go to Brussels to find partners for this international consortium, or even squeeze yourself in if you have a good idea and want to join an existing consortium. That's also possible. So this is Anna and me. So Anna is in charge of this call from Smarter Electronic Program. So you have her contact details there. And I could help out with the more of technical stuff, and also for the ones wanting to set up international consortium. And you find more information on our webpage. If you haven't subscribed on our newsletter, I recommend you to subscribe our newsletter, and you also could follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube. So with that, I think we go to the Q&A session. So I haven't seen any questions in the chat, so it's free to and we are quite few here. So I stopped the recording now, and you could be open to ask more specific questions. So the recording will stop, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Torbjörn. I have just